This is Character Asked It. You already know Character did it. I'm here with Asked P. Bro, tell us about yourself. What do you do?
I don't know where to start. Okay, so I'm a entrepreneur, a businessman, a rapper, and a YouTuber, and a whole lot more. Family first, so I'm also a family man.
You know it's going to be good when you start with, I don't know where to start. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's just, I don't know where to start.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
All right, man. Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, but now I'm in the Philippines.
You live in the Philippines.
I live in the Philippines.
All right, man. We're going to get to how you ended up in the Philippines, but I want to start. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about coming up.
Coming up in Toronto was pretty like North American normal, like in the sense that like regular life. I was a sports kid. I played very highly competitive hockey, baseball, and I boxed for a long time. And then when I started realizing that sports wasn't going to materialize into a career with all the hours and time put into literally 5 days a week training and stuff like that, I started hanging with my homies more. And when I started hanging with my homies more, still playing sports, I was introduced to the writing style of hip hop and then listening to music and breaking it down. And that's when I picked up the pen, and like maybe when I was like 15 and started kind of writing. And the sports background, I think, plays a big part in certain successes in people's life because you're taught at a young age to strategize and give it all or nothing and go hard. Like, don't fucking quit. Like that don't quit mentality. And I think when you taste success as a kid, it's addictive, and that winning personality follows you around in multiple aspects of your life because like you have that not quit attitude. But like growing up in Toronto was cool. Like in the winter, everybody played ball hockey. In the summer, everybody played soccer and baseball like a regular kid. I'm from the era where you actually played outdoors and you weren't hibernating inside or anything like that. But Toronto's dope in a sense because it's the most multicultural city in the world. Like there's you can ride a subway, and when you ride the subway, there's literally somebody from probably on your subway car. There's probably one person from about 30 different countries on your bus. So on your subway car. So where I grew up, my class photos every year looked like a Benetton Colors ad in the sense that like there was no racism. Like nobody cared about anything. So your cliques and your circles weren't necessarily just the white guys hanging out with the black guys, the homies with the homies. Everybody intermingled. And then when you got older, obviously certain cliques separated, but it just made for more culture because Toronto's culture is everybody else's culture because it's only like 100-year-old, 200-year-old city.
Absolutely, bro. There's a couple things I'd like to bring up about what you just said. And one of those things is I'm from the Maryland, D.C. area, shout out DMV area, you know, and Silver Spring, Maryland. And I'd like to pride that area on the fact that it's I've always called it a mixing bowl. I don't think I could tell you what the majority was in my high school because it was such a wide variety and I, you know, I don't know what numbers, blah, 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 but it gave me this sense of almost color blindedness.
Facts. 100% facts.
Culture blindedness.
100%. Unless where you were living, like with your family, your upbringing, unless that was instilled in you from siblings or parents, color blindness completely turned on. Completely turned off. I mean, I meant turned off. 100%.
Yeah.
Turned off.
We know. Yeah. But yeah, no, for sure. That's a great point. And then the other thing that you said was the impact sports has on a person. And really, I grew up as an athlete. I stopped participating in sports when I turned about 15, 16 years old, and I got a car. And I had cars and there was girls, and that was a lot better than running suicides. So I went toward that direction. But the point you brought up...
I didn't. I didn't though.
No,
I
feel
didn't.
you.
Like I was still playing like semi-pro hockey till I was like 19, 20. Like still smoking weed, doing my thing
Sure.
on like my guys on my team were like, yo, like you need to quit smoking. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not making it. I'm not pushing the career, bro.
Who says, you know? And it's legal as hell where you're at now. So anyway.
Not when I moved here.
No, I know. I'm sure, bro. I'm sure. We'll get to that too. But the point though is that you know, the taste of success and the determination that sports can teach you. I never really took that into consideration about how my grind is and how my work ethic is. That's a really great point, that sports at a young age does teach you a work ethic and what it takes to really, if you want to do something, this is the determination, this is the amount of hours you got to set forth for it. I never thought about it like that.
It creates that mindset. Like, and I don't mean if you play rec league, like your parents just sign you up, drop you off once a week. Maybe there's going to be one or two kids in your league that's going to see that. But I mean, when you're playing high level and you're sitting in practice and the coach has the board and he's drawing up plays, or you're playing high competitive sports where you got to see the plays materialize. If you're a running back, you got to find your opening. And when that opening's there, you got to be able to take it. You can take those same characteristics that you've been developing throughout your life in sports and apply them to so many different factors and just places in life where you can see the opportunities better. When people are explaining them to you, you might not necessarily do the work the exact same way that they were doing, but you've automatically built in a way to break down information and find the algorithm for success. So when you play high-level sports, you can't turn that compete off. Like, I'm a 45-year-old man that just, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to fucking lose. Like, there's no lose. There's no lose. And you just can't turn that shit off. And I think winners win because they have that don't quit attitude. The reason why people lose is because they quit, and it's easier to quit than it is to succeed, which is why most people fail and they don't succeed because they give up before they give themselves that chance. But when you play high-level competitive sports, you're trained not to quit. You could be losing 6-0, and if you're not giving it all, you're going to be benched the next game. Like, you got to give it all until the clock says 0. And I think that's just the way everybody should live life, and then everybody would taste a little bit of success.
Love that, bro. And that's a perspective I've never heard, and I respect it for real.
Appreciate you.
When did you leave Toronto?
Okay, so I physically left 7 years ago, but okay. I checked out the first time me and my wife went on vacation to the Philippines. We've been together for 15, 16 years. And the first vacation we had here, I knew that this was I just knew.
Really?
The weather is 10 times better than Toronto. Like, Baltimore's got similar weather. Like, there's no winter. Picture Hawaii, and just picture Hawaii not with inflated prices. Everything is, the conversion ratio for Americans is 56-1.
Wow.
But you see the value of what you're buying. So, like, you can go to the store and you can buy a bag of chips for 10 cents. You can buy a 2-liter bottle of pop for $1. You can go to the store and buy like local brand. Like, the main local alcohol is a brandy. It's a strong brandy, but it's a brand. It's more like a whiskey than a brandy. It's in the middle of both. You can buy a 26er, so 26 ounces, like a 26-ounce bottle for $3. You can buy a pack of smokes for, I don't smoke anymore, but you can buy a pack of smokes for, when I smoked, I quit 5 years ago, I think smokes here were $2. You see the value of what the dollar is, and then when you go back home, you see what the inflation is. Maybe it also has to do that I'm in Asia and it's really close to China, so the import-export fees aren't really fucking high. But then you get like the people. And when I say the people are kind and friendly, like, you don't get this kind and friendly. It's like 1940 over here versus like the future in on the western side of the world. So there's not really a culture shock, but the people are so happy and friendly. Homeless people are smiling, and I think it's because there's fruit everywhere. So like, yeah, you might not be able to afford food and shit, but you can walk around and eat all year round. Every fruit in the world works here. We go to the market, the fresh market, the daily market every day, and in the market here, I'm selling this good, and I know I'm selling it good. There's no chemical imbalanced chickens, meat, cows. You want meat, you're getting fresh meat daily. You're getting. I'm friends with the farmer down the road. I get fresh eggs daily delivered to my house, and I have so. Everything is fresh, not frozen here. It's a different way of life. Don't get me wrong. You go to the grocery store, it's the big box, the same as back home. But here, you have farmers that barter with other farmers and they trade goods.
Wow.
And it's a different culture. It's a different way of life, but they respect North American culture. So they respect hip hop is huge out here. I was a retired MC before I moved out here, and we'll get into that in a minute. So when I left after a 2-week vacation, I looked at her and said, we're moving there. She goes, no, we're not. Because you got to understand, it's because the conversion rate is so low, the hourly wages are incredibly low here. You're not getting a good job. You're not getting a good paying job unless you're an engineer, doctor, lawyer. Pretty much, period.
Right.
I can hire a live-in nanny to cook and clean and take care of my house for $300 American a month.
Oh my God.
And she's getting a good wage.
Oh my God, bro.
Like, she's getting overpaid, probably like 4,000 or 5,000 pesos. But to buy a car is almost the same price. Housing is not the same price. It's a lot cheaper, but the construction of a house. So it's like, we also moved here because I was the senior director of international business for HomeAway VRBO, which is like Airbnb.
Yeah.
And they purchased, so my division was being sold, and we had a choice to take a payout or to get hired on. And after my second year there, I wasn't negotiating raises. I was negotiating profit sharing, because I knew that this was a straight to acquire company. I knew what they were leading towards. So I had shares. So I'm like, no, you guys can just give me my severance, buy me out, and then keep a percentage and buy out these percentages. So that's exactly what they did. I was already retired from music before I moved here.
Damn.
But when I moved here, I didn't have my PR card. I didn't have my permanent resident card, so I couldn't work, and I was bored. So one of my buddies is like, yo, we're doing a show. You want to perform? And I was just like, sure. Went home after the show and was like, yo, it just refueled that fire. I wrote a song, recorded it, had no mixing and mastering, didn't know anybody, put it on Facebook, and woke up to 50,000 plays. I just threw it out there. I had no channels. I had no social medias.
Wow.
I just had an idea for something, threw it out there, and it stuck. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm onto something.
So
maybe I should keep going.
Now you're in the Philippines. You
Yes, sir.
took the cash out. You moved to the Philippines, and
The bag.
now you're making a living in the Philippines off of making music.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Amongst other things. So like, yeah, I get like the YouTube and Spotify residuals and stuff like that, but I have a call center. My wife has a couple vape shops. So like we took another thing about living here is you can take it back home. You got one shot. You invest X amount of money, you get one shot. So that here, for the same amount of money you would invest, you can take multiple shots and see what hits. So because the money stretches further. So we took uncalculated risks. I didn't know my YouTube channel was going to grow to what it has been. I didn't know that the Spotify was going to grow. But during this time, we were playing around. We had a whole bunch of other stuff set up pre-pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, everything that we had wasn't set up for a pandemic. Nothing was online. We had we had 5 vehicles in the transportation industry. And then when COVID hit, nobody's allowed to leave their house. Right. So obviously we sold the vehicles and there's no routes. And then when they brought it back, it was at 50% capacity because you can't sit, God forbid you sit beside somebody. So we just had to pivot. And that's when I built my recording studio. I built my recording studio during COVID. And shout out to Big Kahuna. Big Kahuna's like, you need to create a YouTube channel. Big Kahuna's the plug. Big Kahuna's like, he heard my music, he heard some of my like 24 bars challenges and was like, you need to do YouTube. And he's like, you need to do reactions. So that's when I started doing reactions. So I literally like in a year went from 100 subscribers to what am I like? I'm at like 47,000 right now. No shit.
And how long?
Under 2 years, year and a half.
Man, congrats, bro. That's huge.
It's a grind. It's such a grind. And if people who aren't in the YouTube game just log on and check out like views or they watch their artists, when you're like following reactors and stuff, people don't understand how much of a grind it is. You might not be a reactor per se, but you do so much on YouTube with the editing and all that stuff that people don't realize how much goes in the background.
Absolutely. And also trying to find what works on YouTube as opposed to Instagram, as opposed to TikTok, as opposed to Facebook. Each one's different. Each one's looking for a different thing. It's really been very much recently that I've started to find like the live premieres, things like that are starting to help me. But YouTube is a very difficult box to break into for real. And the fact that you're doing this well, man, is something to be proud of, man.
It totally is. And like, again, I'm older, so I'm not as technical as a lot of people.
That makes it way harder than people realize, man.
So like, I don't have an editor. Yeah. I don't have people making my thumbnails, this, that. Like I had to teach myself everything. Like, thank God for YouTube tutorial videos, man. Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then there's the music aspect. And pre-pandemic, I was drawing numbers. Like my numbers on my tracks right now off of the platforms were hitting numbers. Like everything I was dropping was getting 20 to 50,000 organic views. I was just posting it, letting it go. Pandemic hits and my numbers literally plummeted. So pre-pandemic, I had lined up so many tracks with golden era legends. And from people that I had interactions with in the past, just reopening up the lines of communications and shit like that. And then during COVID, everything went stagnant. And now I'm re-hitting back up everybody that I had lined up during the pandemic. And everybody's like, fuck yeah. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Hell yeah. You want to tell me about any of those people?
So if you go on my Spotify, I got tracks with Cool G Rap. I have a feature with MOP. Big Noid from Mobb Deep.
Oh shit. Okay.
Rock from Helter Skelter. Shout out Bootcamp Click. So these are all people that I had interactions with in the past, because even when I stopped doing sports, my music career in the late 90s, early 2000s was good. I was touring Europe. I did Lollapalooza back in the day.
No shit.
And then I got ripped off from my record label and wasn't pushing out as much music, and then put on the hat of the artist manager, owned my own label. So like when I say I'm a man of many hats, I was a man of many hats that reinvested and just kept on reinvesting. So even though I got ripped off, I made money, I reinvested it. I wanted multiple cash revenue streams coming in. I didn't want to get paid here when I can branch out and get paid in 3 or 4 different ways. So if one stops, at least at least you're not gonna fucking have to go on unemployment or something. You got multiple revenue streams coming in. So I stopped rhyming and I didn't pick up the pen. I've retired twice, and when you have it in your genes, it's just, no matter how old you are, it's just going to keep coming back. It's always going to call you back. And I'm working on an album called Legends Only. I've released 4 singles off the album, and this is going to be my last EP. And from here on out, after this album drops, it's just going to be singles only. So I'll do collabs and I'll do songs, but and the Legends Only album features a golden era legend on every song.
No shit. Like who? Like who you got on that album, man?
The next song I'm releasing, well, the next 2 songs I just named the
MOB, guys. Bro. I mean, the big one, yeah, bro. Those are like, man, childhood heroes type shit.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with K Legend. Shout out True Mob. Me and K, I hollered at my homie K Legend, and we're about to drop a track with Twista.
Oh my god.
Me and my homie Marcus Ocampo. I've opened for these guys. I've toured with these guys, but like we're releasing a track with Onyx, Sticky Fingers.
No shit, bro.
Shout out Sticky Fingers and Fraser Star. What's good? 100. You already know what it is. There's more. There's like, I don't want to name drop. I don't want to be that guy. I got you. No.
Hey, respect to that.
I do not want to be that
respect to that. So you know what? I'll tell you to stop right there, man. Like for real.
When the album drops, the album is called. I'm sitting there picking and choosing names. I couldn't figure it out, and I'm like, fuck it. I just named the album Legends Only. I'm not a legend, but I'm working with legends, and I'm going out a legend. So it is what it is, man.
Damn right, man. Damn right, bro. You should be proud of yourself. That's big shit, man.
But this is, again, I'm at a point where I'm performing all the time out here in the Philippines, but I'm at a point where I'm not ready to hang up my mic. But when it comes to studio EPs and studio albums, I'm done with that grind because it's just so much work.
The world is done with that grind, bro.
Yeah, you can make more money off singles than you do albums.
Damn right, man. Tell me how you ended up performing at Lollapalooza and then what it was like.
So in '98, one of my tracks went viral in Europe, and this is before social media.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. Viral wasn't even a word in '98, man.
Yeah, if you weren't messing and throwing a couple bucks to the big promoters in your city, you weren't getting shows. You had to take care of the promoters and they book you. And you have to take care of the college radio stations because college radio stations are the ones that play your music. But one of our songs that we did was in the top 100 Billboard in Poland. And we released another song, and then the second song charted in Poland and Germany. And then the label's like, okay, we have to go out there. And even now, when I look at my Spotify numbers now on the back end of where the streams and shit are coming from, Germany is always like Berlin, Munich. Like, it's crazy. But those are like every song I release, top 3.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. It's US. It's always like the European countries, like they support hip hop heavy.
Yes. Yeah.
Like fucking, and I'm seeing that over the course of the last 2 years. So the label's like, well, we got to go out there because like we were on the countdowns on the major radio stations out there. We were in heavy rotation out there. So we went out there and performed, and it was just crazy. We weren't headlining, but we weren't opening either. And we killed it. But it's like I can't understand. I can't explain what it's like going to a place that you have no clue the language, but there's like 10,000 people singing in chorus. They knew the chorus and the hook to our song.
Oh man!
While we were performing, we were looking at each other like, how is this possible? Because we didn't spend money in PR in anywhere there. So one Live Nation, shout out Live Nation.
Live Nation, hell yeah.
This is before Live Nation, but some of the people from Live Nation now did Lollapalooza, and they're like, you guys have to come perform and blah, blah, blah. So the label started spending a little bit of money in PR on radio in North America. Nothing really ever kicked off there.
Sure.
But we still did some shit, had some fun. The tours were bananas, but yeah, man, like, people spend their whole lifetime chasing what me and my homies were able to do very early on in our career. Some people hit it in the very beginning and you never taste it. And for me, it's not about tasting that. I'm not chasing something. It's just, I'm a third generation recording artist. It's in my blood. It's what I do. It's what's been around me my whole life. But I just wish I had masters or copies of my shit from back then, because the label went under. Like, after they ripped me off and I left, the label went under, so I couldn't even find those songs to play those songs. The gold albums, I don't know where they are. I don't know who to contact at the label. So, like, just to be able to look at the wall and just same way that somebody would have their university degree hanging on the wall, that's like what I want from back then but don't have. So I'm not chasing that to try and re-catch that back, but during that time, and then managing my own record label, managing artists, owning my own label at times, like, I built connections with a lot of artists, and the hip-hop community is very small. And what people don't understand is whether somebody is here or somebody is here, it doesn't matter. Somebody here knows somebody connected to him, and him. So if you're a piece of shit and you're trying to holler at people for collabs, it's not going to happen, because word's going to get around that you're a piece of shit. So I'm just fortunate enough that, like, these guys answered some of my DMs and
no doubt
albums, and now I got an album coming out.
No doubt, bro. And I really feel like you just told me about a lot of them, but tell me definitely, what are your biggest accomplishments the way you see them?
Musically?
Music or in life?
Okay, so biggest accomplishments in life is like, hey, so before I met my wife, and like after certain like everybody has trials and tribulations, everybody goes through certain BS's in their life. Everybody makes mistakes. So one of the biggest accomplishments is getting to where I am from where I was, because I went from having a bunch of success to falling off of a cliff, picking up very bad vices, hanging around with completely the wrong crowd, constantly being in the wrong place at the wrong time, getting homeless for a little bit, to literally meeting my wife, working shitty jobs, because I spent my whole youth performing or doing sports that school was an afterthought, working shitty jobs. She got pregnant, working 3 jobs, to 2 years later managing a Fortune 500 company. So like the grind of not fucking quitting.
Wow.
Being able to start with nothing and building it up. So like it's this, and then being able to collaborate with some of my childhood inspirations. Man. Like that's the icing on the cake. There's
some of everybody's childhood inspirations, bro.
Like, dude, Cool G Rap is in my top 3, and
MOB.
When MOP is like MOP is there, but and
personally for you,
Cool G Rap and Rakim are the 2 artists that are always 1 and 2 on my list. It doesn't matter. It's Rakim, it's Cool G Rap. Rakim and Cool G Rap, along with Big Daddy Kane in the East Coast, have inspired more MCs than anybody else in the entire industry, because they were the three artists in a time where there wasn't really an emphasis on flow, cadence, and delivery. But if you listen to all three of those artists, they were essentially and then there's King T or Diamond D in the West Coast that did the exact same thing. Those like four artists had flow, cadence, and delivery in a time when there wasn't flow, cadence, and delivery, and they inspired and birthed multiple generations of spitters. You wouldn't have the Mobb Deeps, the Nas's, and that kind of stuff if the foundation wasn't properly laid by Cool G Rap and Rakim. And it's just, so when I heard them, and it was just like, yo, this is a time where the old school, like if you know the Melly Mel when he released the Eminem disc, I know you heard that.
Oh no.
So that Melly Mel hasn't evolved. His flow hasn't evolved. He sounded exactly the same way as he did in the 80s. And that's what I mean by the old school flow. If you listen to music from that era, everybody was a generic rapper, sort of sounding the same.
Sure.
Similar, not the same. So, and then there's just like being able to build a custom house, paying cash, boom, dropping a bag on a custom house. So like multiple successes. There's so many others, but at the end of the day, I'm just grateful for what I have, grateful for the opportunity that I have. I've been on the bottom. I've never been, I'm not going to say on top, but I've tasted success on multiple different levels, but I've also tasted failure on multiple different levels. I respect the grind.
No doubt, bro.
I respect the grind and hustle.
What have been the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome?
So I'm gonna get into some shit that nobody knows. I was born with a mild case of dyslexia, and back then it wasn't really, they weren't diagnosing it properly.
Sure.
So they always told me I had massive ADD, attention deficit disorder, with a learning disability, but they didn't diagnose the learning disability with dyslexia. So like, while every kid in my class was advancing at certain levels, I was having issues reading, writing, spelling. So I think my largest obstacles in life were overcoming myself, and then like being bullied and all that shit. So like, I think people go through certain things in life because it's just builds more layers to them, and like an onion kind of thing. But the biggest obstacle I'd say that I had to like overcome in life was me. I was my biggest obstacle, and it was something I was like born with. It wasn't something I could pick or choose. I think having that, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't build a sort of photogenic memory. Like I could look at something and be able to process it in and take it in instantly. Maybe that's also why I had success in sports, because I could immediately look, read the plays, know where the player is going to be, pass him whatever it is. And but I also think that that's why I gravitated towards music, and that's why I gravitated towards sports, is because like when you have those issues growing up, you get bullied. I was bullied by my teachers, by kids in school, my brother. Teachers were calling me stupid, like, why don't you fucking understand this, you fucking idiot? Getting frustrated trying to teach me the same math lesson for 20 minutes. Where on the sports field, the ice, no matter what I played, people didn't judge. If you sucked, you didn't make the team, you got cut. You made the team when you tried out. We're all equals here. No one's fucking picking on you. And I just had that hunger to want to be the best. And putting a child going through a whole bunch of shit in a place where they don't have that drama and they can just be themselves or discover themselves, man, that's why I gravitated towards sports. For sure. But my biggest obstacle was me, for sure. Overcoming that.
I feel that, bro. I feel that.
That implants fears in you your entire life. Like, growing up with those issues puts and instills certain doubts and fears in you from a very young age that you're just not overcoming.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And would you have any advice on how to overcome yourself, those instilled fears that were put there by someone else, but they're still in your head?
Find what makes you happy. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, as long as you're not harming anybody and harming yourself. Everybody has that one happy place, or that one, a couple things that they do where they can not isolate themselves from everything, but find your spot where you can just be you, be at one, and not have to worry. It's different for everybody. It could be a different place for everybody, but just for me, it was playing sports, because for those 2-3 hours that I was playing, everything was turned off. Find your place where you can turn everything off, all the bullshit from the outside world. It could be writing poetry. It could be writing a song. It could be fucking going for a jog. It could be going for a walk. It could just be sitting and meditating. It doesn't matter what it fucking is. Like, everybody needs to find a little bit of turn off the outside world, or like you're gonna go fucking crazy. If you're constantly getting bullied, if you're constantly getting knocked down and kicked down, and you have no outlet, you need to find your outlet. If you don't have that fucking release, you're gonna go into a school and murder people. Like, you need to find that release. You're gonna do something that you normally wouldn't do because your mind frame is in a completely different state, that you need to be able to fucking turn it off a little bit. Go to a cottage for a weekend. No cell phones. Do something. Find something. So I was able to find my outlet. My outlet was sports. Yeah. And then from sports, it gravitated towards music. Give me that 30 minutes. Give me that 1 hour. Let me write a song and let me rehearse that song over and over and over and over and over again and memorize it. Go record it. Like, so you're just putting in so much time into something that, again, it's not harming anybody, and you're not hurting yourself. Find your zen. Find your happy place. Find the place where you can just fucking be you.
No doubt, bro.
For however long you need. Could be finding a new job. Sometimes your stress is from the job. Find a new job that doesn't stress you that much.
Yep. What does success in life look like to you?
Happiness. Being at peace with yourself.
Do you feel like you've achieved that?
I do now. I didn't. Don't get me wrong, I still have the stresses and pressures of every day-to-day life and stuff like that, but my kids are happy. My wife's happy. And when you have a happy wife, it's so cliche, but happy wife, happy life. Or happy wife, happy life just means if your partner's happy, she's not giving you stress.
Absolutely, but it's not meaning change yourself or do everything you can to make that. If your relationship makes you happy and it makes her happy, then you have a happy life.
Like, happy life to me is not, it holds no monetary value. It does nothing to do with money. You can have all the money in the world and still be a miserable old piece of shit. Like, there's a lot of old miserable fucking men, and it's because they're not happy. But for me, happiness is just the ultimate happiness that I get is when my kids do things that I couldn't do and they do it better than I was doing it. And that gives you it just gives you the pat on the back that you're a good parent. Seeing my kids succeed brings me joy and happiness. And having a house with balance gives me happiness. There's no yelling, there's no fighting, there's no screaming. A complete opposite of how I grew up and what I grew up in. That for me, the things I wanted to eliminate early on in life, I have been able and fortunate enough to do that in finding a partner that can put up with my bullshit and has the patience to put up with my bullshit. Because by no stretch am I even close to fucking perfect. But at the end of the day, I found a partner where the balance is there. Like, So happiness just has to do with being content and wanting more and enjoying life, enjoying the moment. Like, I've had a lot of successes, but I've also had a lot of failures, and people tend to talk about their successes way more than their failures, but the failures are what got them to the success. I don't know, man. Like, just happiness for me is being in a place where I'm not miserable and I'm not dragging other people down and I'm not bringing my misery onto other people. And right now I'm at a complete fucking place of just zen. I'm at I found the meaning in life, and I just hope that this feeling lasts. I hope in 2 years when we I hope through time when we circle back to shoot the shit with each other that it continues. And I just hope I think it also had to do with moving to the Philippines, because the stress level here is a lot different than it is back home. It's so much less than back home. So much less. Like, it's just crazy.
No doubt, bro.
Also, I don't gotta wake up and fucking shovel ice off my car windshield.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. And I wish the same for you, man. I can't wait to see where you're at in a year. I'd love to do another interview with you in a year. Let's just do a time tracker, man. Let's keep track of it.
Done. I got 100%, man. So I want to ask you a question. How did you get into this shit? What got you into that seat, and what made you? Because I don't know what you were doing before this, but I don't think it was this. Because when I said I had to relearn and teach myself shit, you were like, yeah. So I'm going to assume that you sort of, when you started this venture, were sort of self-teaching yourself as well. What got you into this chair? And I hope you don't mind me asking you.
No, not at all. But for the sake of the people that do watch my full interviews, I will answer that question after the interview. And I'll just because people hear my shit.
Flip it up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't live stream, bro. Fuck live streaming. So
yeah, I get you. I got you.
All right, so I just got a couple more questions, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, man.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. If you could go back and tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Invest more. The power of investment is strong. You're gonna make mistakes. You can't alter time. Like, you've got to go through your trials and tribulations to get you to be the person that you are. And if you don't like the person that you are, well, you got to work on you to be a better person. But I would just tell myself to invest more. Because money is in everything in life, but when you have money, it makes things a little bit easier, because it gives you the freedoms to be able to go where you want to go when you want to go, and you're able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I don't care about fancy. I'm wearing fucking like chains and shit, but I don't care about flash.
Absolutely.
I have an average car. My clothes are meh. My shoes. I have a shoe fetish. I'm not gonna lie. My kicks have to be A1. But when you budget properly and you invest properly, it puts you in a position, and you have multiple revenue streams. And if you don't study how to get multiple revenue streams, it makes things easier, and it makes life easier. When you don't have to worry about where your mortgage payment's coming from. If you're not living, you can be living paycheck to paycheck, but just cut back for 6 months on what you're doing. The money you have in the bank, now you're gonna have bank. Stop buying. Stop buying for 6 months.
There was a close family friend of ours. Shout out, Mrs. Natonic, yo. She was also my 3rd grade teacher. But she said, money doesn't buy happiness, but it makes it a lot easier to find.
Well, there's a reason why certain shit isn't being taught in school. You're not being taught how to invest.
Oh, don't get me started on that, bro.
Like you're not. So, everything off my YouTube channel is donated to charity. I don't know if you know that. Every cent off my YouTube channel goes to charity. So videos I post, live streams, donation requests, everything goes towards helping kids in underprivileged.
How have you not told me that? Back the hell up. What charity? Tell me about all that, bro.
So when you get off the airplane here, like as soon as you're flying into, I don't live in Manila. I live about a 45-minute flight out of Manila. But it doesn't matter where you are in the Philippines. When you fly into the Philippines, unlike North America and other big cities where they hide poverty by building houses and walls around it and separate. So here's the big city, and you always have that hood or that ghetto on the outskirts. They push, it's hidden. They can hide the poverty. They don't hide you can't hide the poverty here. So what I mean is when you fly into the airport, when you look off the runway, there's going to be tin houses everywhere because the population here, it's a teeny tiny country, but the population here is pushing 100 million. Manila has like almost 20 million people, so it's overcrowded. And because the certain things you're buying and doing are expensive, whereas like the cost of living is cheap, but cell phones are regular prices back home. Like the world trade has to make it so things sell for the same dollar. When I would walk around my city at like 11 a.m., because the things that I do, my work isn't a 9 to 5. So when I would go to the store, you'll see kids with no shoes that are like 7, 8 years old running around the street. Not being like little shits, but you see the poverty and it's not hidden. There could be a really nice 2,000 square foot home, and then next door, the guy literally has a tin house or a bamboo fucking shelter. And we're in the typhoon capital of Asia. So like typhoons here, we call them typhoons here, but they're hurricanes back home. So like poverty is not hidden here. And I've always wanted to give back, but I didn't know how. And I wanted to, as my YouTube channel growed, I said, you know what? I want to give back to my community. I want to be able to do something. So every year, come September, I partner up with multiple schools. They do like not an exam, but they do like a test to see which are the more poverty-stricken schools. And I partner up with the 2 most poverty-stricken schools and supply every kid in the school because they're usually grade 1 to grade 6, and grade 7 is when high school starts here. So elementary school, I supply every student in 2 elementary schools with knapsacks, pens, pencils, erasers, notebooks, everything that they need for the entire year. And I did that last year, and then this year I found out that because like all 300 students in each school are well below the poverty line, I found out that they would be going to school, majority of them with no food and no water. So I attached a feeding. This year I supplied them with all their supplies, but I attached a feeding program beside them as well. So now all these kids, like before recess, they'll get like a cup of juice and like a snack, and then at lunch they get rice, and then they get another snack after school. I just wanted to be able to give back to my community, just because it's the right thing to do. But then I also do like a Christmas toy drive. Around Christmas, we get like, I just go to I speak to the city, I speak to the governor and the mayor, and they give me like a gym, like a gymnasium. They don't charge me or anything like that. And we set everything up, and we get a Santa. My friend is a white guy from the States. And most of my friends here are white because it's just easier with the language barrier, but he has a Santa outfit, and he comes as Santa, and these poor kids who have never seen Santa get to sit on Santa's knee, tell them what they want, and every kid gets a toy. And there's a feeding pro, so they get like, every family gets a whole chicken and a sack of rice and shit like that. So it's like, I just wanted to give back to my community, give back to within my community, share your blessings. And I feel when you share your blessings, more blessings come your way. Again, not a monetary share, like if you can afford to share. So yeah, that's
anybody watching this, if you don't follow him right now, unfollow me, bro. Mad respect. That is
it helps with the peace of mind. So when you say like, what's happiness to you? Like seeing 500 kids 2-3 times a year with those smiles on their face. How can you not be happy with that? Like my problems become so much more minute and less when you see the lives of so many people around you. That like, when am I gonna cry? That fucking like, I only got X amount of money in the bank and it was a tough month. YouTube took me out of the fucking algorithm. Okay, yeah, YouTube took me out of the algorithm. These kids haven't eaten in 2 days. You know what I mean? Like, what's more fucking severe? Like, so, do you want to be selfish? I could be selfish, but like, nah, man, it's all good.
So much love to you. I wish I could hug you right now. So much love to you. That's
nah, man. Just like
incredible.
next year, like y'all need. I say this all the time. Y'all need to come out here for one of these drives and just experience that shit.
I'm gonna work on getting my passport, bro.
It's gonna give you a whole new meaning of life. And again, all my friends, like I'm in the Rotary Club because I needed help. So like we like what the Rotary Club is, it's like a group of people that go on missions to help people. So this was my drive, and my drives with I left the Rotary Club, but I'm still friends with them. But they help me to make sure that all of these charity things that I'm doing go without a hitch. And it's like I tell Vibe Reactions, who's my one of my best friends, I'm like, you guys got to come out here. To come out here because the weather is amazing, everything is amazing. The food is a fusion between Chinese and Thai, so the food is bananas.
Damn.
But then you see that side of it, and it's like it brings more perspective, and it's different than going to a country, staying on the on the all-inclusive resort, not leaving the resort. It's you get to see shit for what it is here and have fun.
Absolutely,
and
bro.
I love it.
Sounds like paradise, man.
It really is, though. Like, but my paradise might be different from your paradise. That's.
It may not be. But
it's not.
Before we end this, is there any kind of sentiment or life lesson that you would like to leave with people? Even though I feel like you've told us a few, but is there one last one?
Just don't quit. Just don't quit. Just don't fucking quit. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you've been. Go to a group where there's 20 people. Everybody sit down and go into your pockets, and everybody take your problems out and put your problems on the table. You know what's going to happen in about 30 seconds? You're going to take your fucking problems and you're going to put them back in your pocket. Because other people's problems are worse than your fucking problems.
Oh, I like that.
The reason why people don't succeed is because they quit on themselves. Don't fucking quit. Keep going. You think it's tough? Okay, good. It's supposed to be fucking tough. If it was easy, everybody would succeed. Keep fucking pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. Don't fucking stop. And you're gonna see, oh shit, I'm successful. This guy quit. That guy quit. They're not successful. You want to be successful? Hang out with successful people. Look around you. If the people you're looking around don't have anything to bring to the fucking conversation, you might want to change your fucking circle, because you are who you hang around with. You want to be successful? Hang around successful people.
End of story. End of story. Facts, bro. Facts, man. Yo, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you doing it. You had no clue who I was, bro.
No, I didn't.
I DM'd you on a whim saying, yo, let me jump in here. You interviewing some of my homies and shit like that. Like, what is this all about? So, like, I have fun with this. I love this kind of shit. So
good, man. And I like to stay ignorant to the people that I interview, because I like to get to know them as people. Like, I've interviewed a couple legends, like DJ Finesse. I interviewed him the other day. Like, he's working with the biggest of the big, like, he is legend status.
That's fucking dope.
Nathaniel the Great, like, but I don't need to know anything about you, because I'm just trying to get to know who you are as a person. I'm trying to get to know things most people don't know.
I get that.
This has been an awesome episode of Karikter Asked with Karikter P. Follow him up, hit him up. He's a legend. You don't even know it yet. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.